Are you rethinking your purpose in life? Being centered in a strong spiritual connection is more important now than ever. Hi, I'm Bryn Blankinship, hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. Each episode, along with Dr. Pat, I'll share my experiences with guiding spiritual regression clients into the afterlife and the soul lessons gained, prompting you to explore your own soul's journey and empowering you by shifting your perception of yourself and your place in this world. I want you to know that you're here by design, not by accident. You are not alone. You are loved. You are here on purpose for a purpose. When you stand in your truth and fulfill your purpose, you support others in fulfilling theirs. If this intrigues you, stay tuned in as we explore.
Hey everybody, I'm your host, Bryn Blankinship with the Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons Bringing You Full Circle. And we have a special guest today, Dr. Sharon Martin. She is gonna be with us today to talk about finding a deeper awareness of your soul's journey through hypnosis. And we're also going to talk about how hypnosis can help you tap into your cellular wisdom. So just a little background on Doc Martin. She's a holistic MD. She's in private practice. She initially started out with traditional medicine, but then moved into holistic medicine, shamanic techniques. We're going to talk about that today. She also took my training to become a hypnotherapist and a past life regressionist. And we found a common ground because with hypnosis, you can get into that deeper layer and help your client. And then there are times that you need to refer to traditional medicine. And, she's able to do both. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, and another thing I want to mention too is her podcast. She also has a podcast, and she developed the maximum medicine method. That's a tongue twister. And we're going to expand on that and give you some information that will help you improve your life, improve your health, improve the quality of your life. That's the goal of all of these shows that we do. So welcome. Thank you for
Hi,
being
Bryn.
here.
It's so nice to see you again.
Yes.
So I have a good story to tell you, and maybe that'll warm us up for what we're going to talk about. I went to be a healer at the Edgar Cayce Foundation in Norfolk in Virginia Beach several years ago. And they booked me with the psychics. And I said, well, I'm not exactly, I'm intuitive, but anyway, so I had told each person as they sat down, well, I'm not exactly, but I get hits and I'll tell you what they are. And one woman sat down and she was in chronic pain. She hobbled in with a cane. She could barely walk. And I thought, what can I do? And I just closed my eyes for a minute and I just remembered in hypnosis how we use the technique of dialing down something, visualizing a dial, dialing it down. So I kind of used words to help her get a little relaxed, had her dial down her pain. She stood up and she said, I have no pain. I haven't felt this good in years. So here in a little half-hour session out of the blue with somebody that I had no knowledge of, you use hypnotic techniques and they work. And I thought, thank you, Bryn, for teaching me that.
Oh, well, thank you. That's what's so amazing because your body has an innate ability to heal. So with hypnosis, we can go within and find out what's causing the issue, when it started. We can also find out what the client needs to reverse the issue, to take it away, to transform it, depending on where they're at with the condition. And something like that, you can dial it down quickly. You want to address it so that you're finding out what the cause is, so you can stop doing the thing that's making it happen, and then you can take it away. And that, that's the power of the subconscious mind tapping in to an ability that we all have. So that's a great story, and that to really symbolize and show our viewers, listeners, you know, the power of the subconscious mind, the power of this work, and how it doesn't have to be a long thing. It can be a quick thing, a quick
Well,
treatment.
you tell me what you think about this, because I see this with my patients all the time. And I've kind of come up with a mantra that I explain it with is that if a person does not believe they can heal, they're not going to. No
Right.
matter what medicine I give them, what treatment I send them for, if they don't believe it. And so tell me what do you see that? And I think, and I don't do hypnosis regularly, but I think hypnosis can help you reach a place where you allow it.
Yes. So if you don't believe you can heal, then you're putting up a roadblock for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
By the time people come in to see me for a session, they are, they want to make the change, but they might say, Bryn, I don't know if I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have the ability to do that. So guiding them into that deeper state, I have them take a look at whatever's holding them back. Where is that belief stemming from?
Mm-hmm.
And it could come from something that someone in authority said to them when they were younger and they believed it. It could come from something that they said to themselves and then they started to believe it. It could come from a past life. They could have carried forward past life beliefs when they did die and they weren't able to heal themselves and they died from an illness. And so they've carried that forward into current life as it's an issue, but it's also here as something, a challenge for them to overcome. They brought it in, and I see it as a tool, something that we can use to get past, right?
Yeah, sometimes people say, well, I'll say, well, let's try to do this. Well, I can't do that. I said, well, why can't you? Because it's just who I am. I can't do that. Um, and that's kind of stuck when maybe they're carrying over something from a past life, this belief that they have to be a certain way.
Yes. Well, and also they're using negative hypnosis. They're conditioning themselves in a negative way to believe that they can't do something. So what we're doing is tapping in a positive way and helping them find where the issue is, where they're holding it, and then asking the body. That's what transpersonal hypnosis is. It's asking the body, where is the issue? What can we do to transform it?
Mhm.
I've had some clients that, I mean, in that space, I've had them give me like a list of things that they need to eat. Their subconscious, their higher self, their highest self is saying,
Mhm.
don't eat this, stop eating that. You need to start eating these things instead. Sometimes they'll say, it's the way you're sleeping, you need a new pillow. Like at a deep, deep level, the body knows and it's bringing it up. What we're doing with hypnosis is bringing it to the surface so that we have awareness, so that we can take a look at it and take action to change it, right?
Do you remember Lois McCloskey? She was
Yes,
one of Michael Newton's students, and you were probably in charge of the academic program back then.
she was my training assistant when I took my training.
How about
She
that?
was paired up with
So
me.
probably 20 years ago, we're going to date ourselves here. I went to her and I had a past life regression with her. And I didn't know anything and I hadn't studied with you yet. And she asked me about, my mother and go back to the womb. And, my mother was a smoker and drank beers. And she said, how did you handle that basically as a fetus? What did you do with this poison coming in? And out of the blue, I said something and that I was hearing myself say it. And I was thinking, where is this coming from? But oh no, we, meaning some greater spiritual connection, we have ways of preventing that from getting through across the placental barrier. Like, and so just like you said, your highest self came up with something, some knowledge, some deep wisdom. Here I am spouting off this stuff that I'm even listening to myself, sort of kind of out of body listening, where this wisdom is coming. Oh no, that didn't bother us because we've established ways to keep that, to break it down and clear it.
Yes.
Wild,
And
huh?
it is, you knew coming in that these were going to be your parents. You knew some of the dynamics. So in that situation, you knew that you needed to put up that barrier. I have a different story for myself. So I like coffee, and I've always liked coffee, and I couldn't wait to be old enough to be allowed to have coffee when I was young. And my mother drank a lot of coffee when she was pregnant with me. I mean, that was just my mother's thing. She drank a lot of coffee her whole life. And I think from my session work, and I've confirmed it with her too, it's partially because I'm the oldest, and when she was pregnant with me, she didn't know that she needed to slow down a little bit. So on her lunch break at work, she would go run errands and get a coffee and, just keep going, right? And I'm in there going, hello, I'm hungry. Hello, I need you to feed me. And so as I started to develop, she started to recognize, oh, I can't live on hardly any calories. I need to feed the baby. And I think that's where my love of coffee developed from. I don't drink it like she did. I mean, I could, I have to slow
I
down.
love that. I love that. I think the listeners are probably getting this, but when the person is relaxed and you are tapping in to the subconscious and then letting the voice of the highest self come through, the incredible wisdom that goes far beyond the individual's experience or knowledge. And it's really tapping in to that universal, isn't it?
Yes. Because we are a piece of, we, this is the spirit realm, and then the piece of us, our soul comes down to be in these bodies, but it's connected to the bigger part and our spiritual team. So we have a whole team up there of beings helping us, guiding us. And when we learn to tune in, we can, we've talked about manifesting things on different shows. I've covered different topics. And we can also tap into our body, our physical body, and it's stored wisdom. And that wisdom is stored in the cells of the body to be accessed as needed. And that's why it's important to eat clean food, drink a lot of water, because your body needs those things to, I mean, you can eat, as a doctor once said to me, you can eat a candy bar or you can eat organic food. Both of them are going to fuel you. But the one that's going to be better for you in the long run is the healthier, the better quality of food, because your body has to process whatever you put into it. And so if you're not feeling well, that can block you from being able to tune into your body's wisdom. When you're feeling good and you're in good spirits and you're in a health state and a higher vibration, then you can tune in more easily. But once illness sets in, once that heaviness sets in, it gets more challenging, right? With the help of a practitioner, they're going to guide you into that relaxed state. And then, I always say you're going to read yourself. I'm intuitive. I get hits as well, but I'm going to ask you to tell me what's happening with you in that deeper state.
I think that would be, I was thinking, because sometimes I try to counsel patients in my office, and we're not in hypnosis or anything shamanic or energetic, but I'll say, can you try to be quiet to try to tap into why are you hungry? Is it the memory? Is it that you see it and it's tempting? Is it, or are your cells really asking for it? And I think hypnosis would probably be, and you've probably done clients with this, really good at helping the person choose the food that's actually going to feed your cells what they need
Yes.
instead of grabbing for the junk because either it's an addiction or a temptation or the memory of it or
Or it's easy, quick,
Mhm,
you know?
mhm.
I was raised on organic food. My mother made my baby food, and we're, we're not
Wow.
going to say when, but we're going to say back
Uh-huh.
then, most
Uh-huh.
food was
Wow.
organic. And my grandfather
That's
had a farm, so we would go climb the apple tree and get apples and plums and cherries. So a lot of, I mean, I love that kind of food and
mhm,
fresh oranges. And so that kind of food is just something that I really thrive on. But, we were allowed to have candy and stuff like that too. And you go
mhm.
get your Halloween candy and it would last a long time because we would get as much as we
All the
could.
way to Easter.
Yes, until you get more, right?
Right.
So, some of those things hold memories. If you came
Mhm,
home from school every day and your mom had a sweet snack of candy or cake, then as an adult, that's something that is a memory for you.
mhm,
Like
mhm,
smoking clients, when I've worked with them, they will tell me that those cherry cigars remind them of grandpa sitting on
mhm.
grandpa's lap
Yeah.
or pipe. Like I can smell my grandfather's pipe right now, and I actually have his pipe, but he liked that certain type of tobacco, and when I smell it now, it just takes me right back. But it's a comforting feeling, but it's not something I felt compelled to go smoke or chew,
Mhm.
right? But for some people, that is what they go to because of comfort. Comfort.
Yep. And I love how I was blown away when I took your course. Did the uh, basic clinical hypnosis and then past life regression. And the stories that people tell when they're in the hypnotic state. And afterwards, you share it with them, and they're like, whoa, well, no wonder I always like such and such. Or,
Yes.
I've always was afraid of such and such. But, tell me what you think about this, because some of the people consciousness in the consciousness world talk about these past lives are really often existing multiple times, multiple at the same time in multiple dimensions. Have you found that when in your
Yes.
regressions?
So there are certain moments in time where I can see it very clearly, like in a session. And
Mhm,
then when I try to come out and go back to that space, it's hard to explain.
mhm,
But they are happening simultaneously because all time is now. And actually, in a session just yesterday, we were talking about time being like a dimension that surrounds planet Earth. And so time is used as a measurement, right? Because we are young and then we're older. But when we're not on Earth, when we're beyond time, we don't need that measurement. But
mhm,
we use it as a measurement of then and now. But all
mhm,
time is really happening at the same time. And that's why how we're able to tap into past life memories that are stored at our cellular level to be accessed at our
mhm,
soul level. And, we knew coming in, we were going to bring in certain things, certain tools, certain gifts, certain memories, like for me, I planned these memories coming in to start my path to become a practitioner, right? So having sessions awakened that in me. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
mhm,
And I went ahead to become a practitioner. And then, that's when it really opened up. And then I learn with every single client, every client I've ever had, you learn something. Or are reminded of things that you already know. So those memories of the past are really happening in now time on another dimension, another plane for us to access. But
mhm,
our highest self, it's like the highest self is up here. And then it comes down into these different bodies, right? So the highest self has the awareness of all the bodies. You and I right now, we have the awareness of the body that we're in. And we have a little bit more awareness than some because of the past life work that we've done to explore some of their past lives, to explore, I've done shamanic work too. So to explore more about my soul and my spirit and the like between lives work in the sessions that you've had. So
Mhm.
all of that just gives us more information about ourselves as a being. And speaking to that, we're moving into a time of awareness that in the coming years, more and more people are awakening to this knowledge within. They are seeking practitioners to help them with that journey.
Mhm. Mhm.
So amazing to see the students in the chairs, and then they come back as training assistants and then as instructors, and they branch out into their fields. And, to see their growth from the first day of class to where they're at now, and then how they combine that with all their skills. So
Mhm.
hypnosis is a way to tap into that, whether we're talking about current life regression, current life information, past lives, and just tap into your soul's awareness. But I've mentioned the birthday suit because I had a client that described how the soul comes in and inhabits the body like the birthday suit. And so your soul fills into the form of the body that you're going to inhabit, and it kind of activates. It activates the mind. It activates a knowing through cellular memory. The soul is kind of like the genius behind
Mhm.
the curtain of the body and the mind.
Well, I love what I learned from you, and I'm in awe of your talents and getting to have worked with Michael Newton way back when and continuing on that knowledge, because you're right, the world needs it. People need to wake up.
Yeah. And, thank you for that. And I have holistic practitioners, I have MDs, I have people from all kinds of walks of life, right? But I'm seeing more medical professionals because
Mhm.
they're trying to help their patients and they need more. What they're doing is not working, or they need something to complement what they're doing that their patient can do at home.
Mhm.
So I love seeing that in my trainings. And then we also have holistic oriented people like like Reiki masters and yogis that they're doing that work, but they want more. Life coaches that want technique and want to get to that deeper place, help the client get to that deeper space within themselves to bring about their own healing. And it's just fun to be part of that.
Well, it is fun when, I mean, every day with each client, you get a new story. You're never bored because
Oh, there's no one reason
Mhm.
that someone has something, right? Like I could have 10 clients with the same issue and they'll give me 10 different reasons why it's happening for them. And there could be a common thread that runs throughout. Have you noticed that in your practice as well?
I think the common thing that I see all the time is that the conditioned belief that it's not possible. And
Hmm.
that's the hardest barrier to break.